Okay, am I in focus? I'm gonna hope so. Hi, how are you? We're standing today. Isn't this fun? Can you tell that the life has been drained out of me? Mini rant. Just a small one, not a big one, just a little one. So I'm like a decent sized YouTuber. I'm not crazy YouTube famous, but I am like clearly undeniably a YouTuber by whatever standards you choose to apply to that word. Got almost 250,000 subscribers, make my living doing this, and I've been spending a little bit of time on this side of the screen, and I've realized that I don't like it anymore. Is that how I want to say this? Probably not. There's probably a better way to say this. YouTube is essentially just high school. It's really just high school. There's all these stupid politics, and people don't get along with each other, and secrets happen on this side of the screen that I can't talk about, things that we all have talked about with each other and in like little collective groups, and it's just annoying. I hated high school. High school was awful. Is this just turning into a general YouTube rant already? Let's take a tiny second and just rant about VidCon for a sec. First of all, I really do trust the people who put VidCon together. I really trust Hank. I really trust the things that he does. And I know that there are lots of intense reasons for the decisions that are made, but sometimes I just want to take Hank and sit him down and just say, why? Why is this the decision that was made? Because I know they've thought about it, and I know that all of the decisions that they make are very carefully calculated. Like, I just have some, like, general questions. Like, why are the invited guests at the Less Than Famous panel not given all access passes? So at VidCon there's like 4 color badge passes for the most part. There's the red, there's the purple, there's the blue, and then there's the yellow. And these badge colors kind of determine where you are allowed to go in the convention hall. I've had friends on this panel called the Less Than Famous panel multiple years, and it's hands down my favorite panel at VidCon. But it makes me kind of sad that the people who are invited creators don't get all access passes. They're given speaker badges. I feel like a big part of that panel is to show that we are all YouTubers, that we're all important in some way, that even a small creator can still be on stage and talk about their experiences on this platform. But then when they do things like give them speaker badges rather than full access passes, it just kind of takes it back. And I know that's not their intention, but just sometimes it feels like that, and it can be kind of disheartening to middle and small size creators. I'm not against like organization and exclusive areas and things to protect bigger YouTubers. I feel like given the amount of stuff that VidCon has to account for, they do a pretty good job. Why do you have people line up to a microphone or have mic runners when you could so much more easily just hand out cards for people to write down things? You could put your branding on it and everything, and it would be fancy like VidCon stationery. There are so many panels that I've been to where I wanted to ask questions but knew that if I didn't get up and run to the front of the line, I would never get to ask them. And also just the social anxiety of having to stand up in front of everyone, including like a creator that you might really respect, and have to talk. Not only that, but so many times at these panels, I would hear the panelists say, we only have 5 minutes. We need to do a lightning round, so just ask your question really quick so that we can get through as many people as we can. And they would just try and give so much context that wasn't necessarily needed. And so a lightning round would just end up being like 2 people in 5 minutes. It was such a waste. Why is this person invited instead of this person who knows so much more about the subject matter? It almost kind of feels like VidCon is trying to balance knowledge and insight with fame, and that's fine, and I understand like the point of this is that you have to sell tickets. VidCon doesn't happen if you can't sell tickets. The problem with doing that is that you end up with a bunch of keep on believing, make all the things, and have fun during the day kind of answers to important questions that are actually about the subject matter itself. Whenever I go to any kind of YouTuber event, if I see that Tom Ska is on a panel, I always try and go to his panels, because he's very self-aware about all this junk. At one point, he even actually called it out. After one panelist gave a very believe in yourself kind of answer, he said, I don't want to give a whole like keep on trying, so he gave an actual answer about registering your channel as a small business because you pay less in taxes. In those 10 seconds, he just like completely redeemed the entire panel, and it was great because it got all of the rest of the panelists back on subject. I want there to be like a form that medium tier YouTubers can fill out to say like, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm not a major security risk, but I'm going there to meet my viewers, not to meet YouTubers that I watch. I feel like middle-sized YouTubers are kind of like the weird gray area that's slowly coming up. We're like the YouTube middle class. Is it possible that we could just have like a small space for like middle-tier creators who just have like a handful of viewers to come and see us? Just like a sign-up list and a small area would be great. Something so that security can like know in advance. Like, I was wandering the con with my friends Crystal and Hannah, and Hannah and I have roughly the the same amount of subscribers, but my audience is a little bit older than hers. So I was getting stopped maybe every 10 minutes just to say hi and get pictures and stuff, while Hannah was getting stopped every time she went out into a public space. I can still comfortably walk through VidCon completely fine, so I don't need intense amounts of security. But if I'm gonna be honest, there were a couple times where I was a little bit, not worried for Hannah, but that I just wish she had a little bit more security. I just don't want to be a problem for VidCon, because this is kind of something you can never really predict. But once again, I don't run VidCon. Maybe they have actually considered all this stuff, and there are just specific reasons as to why it is the way it is, which is why I just want to talk to Hank and be like, but why though? There were also just various times where after interacting with bigger YouTubers, I just felt like I was kind of being treated as an unimportant piece of garbage just because I don't got that yellow badge. It's incredibly disheartening when you are standing with a bunch of your invited creator friends and then some other big YouTuber comes over and does a badge check to determine who they want to network with. People who fucking embrace the hierarchy drive me insane. It's kind of insulting to people with mental illness. It just makes me mad. At one point, a big YouTuber kind of made us all feel like garbage and actually made one of my friends cry. So I hate them now. I shouldn't be saying all of this. I should really just be tiptoeing around this subject because I don't want to burn my metaphorical bridges and all that networking garbage, but I'm kind of in a mood to just burn it all down. And these lights are fucking hot. Sometimes it feels like the only way to be successful on YouTube is to be selfish and self-serving, and that's not a contest that I want to win. So I think what I want to do is just pretend other people don't exist, and I'm gonna make these videos for us. You and me, viewer and creator and viewer. Because screw networking, screw all the business aspects. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the hierarchy that exists, and I'm tired of how much people embrace it rather than trying to fix it. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of really awesome giant YouTubers. Ash Hardell, for starters, greatest human ever. I want more YouTubers to be like Ash, because Ash didn't make me feel like I had to justify introducing them to my friends by pointing out subscriber numbers. I could just bring my YouTube friends with their vastly different audiences and be like, here, people who do things that I think are really cool. We had to stand in a literal gutter on the other side of security just to say hi to a YouTuber who was invited. The entire time we were trying to make sure that security knew that they were doing exactly what they were supposed to, and that it's good that they're following the rules because they don't know who all these people are. And then they were nice enough to let us stand on the curb so that we could just talk and I could introduce my friends to my friends. I love VidCon. VidCon's fantastic. It's amazing. Just being able to see my friends on the curb of a street is great, but I also kind of hate how it can make me feel like garbage. I feel like last year VidCon felt a little bit more enjoyable because I could just go to the panels and be kind of more like a fan, but now that I've gotten a little bit closer to this barrier, I can see it more clearly, and I don't like it. I understand why it exists. It just feels really annoying when I don't know why things are the way they are. If I can understand them, then it's easier to just accept them, depending on the justification. At one point, I was talking to a friend of a friend, and they had asked if I knew Dave from Boy in a Band, and I just thought, why would you think that I know Dave? Is it the hair? Is it the hair thing? I get that a lot. But it was actually because I ran into him for a brief period on the second floor, and I got a picture with him. I decided to vlog every day of this VidCon in my really crappy half-working phone, and it was one of the highlights of my day that I actually got on camera, so I figured I'd just throw it in the thumbnail. Completely forgetting that there's a social hierarchy and that people will see him in my thumbnail and click on the video. So I've decided that I'm changing it because I don't like that. So I'm going to be changing the thumbnail from this to this. A picture that I took with an awesome person who stopped me and said hello. Because I think that's a more important thing to highlight. Even if it doesn't get as many views, it's more important to me. Also, on my way home, I got food poisoning at the airport and threw up in an airport bathroom, because that is just the icing on the cake of this VidCon for me. The whole thing just made me kind of sad, and I just keep asking myself, why am I doing this? I don't know if I have an answer anymore. If I do, it was not the answer I had 2 years ago. Redeeming qualities about VidCon, all of you. So thank you if you just like stopped and said hi, because I know how difficult that is. I know how hard it is to just approach a YouTuber and be like, hi, how are you? I like your stuff. It's really cool. It's a really difficult thing to do, and it takes a lot of courage. It meant a lot to me. It made my VidCon so much better. Thank you, Adrian, for Plarm. I love him. He's awesome. He's going on my desk forever. Specific thank you to Ash for treating me and my friends as though the hierarchy didn't exist. Also, thank you to all the people who either already are my friends or who actually sincerely seemed to have an interest in me as a person beyond the numbers. If this is gonna be high school again, screw the popular kids. Not to burn metaphorical bridges. I think I just need to make videos for us. Not for networking reasons, not for business garbage, just for us. I will be at Summer in the City this year, so if you're going to be there, please say hi. Please just like walk in my vicinity and wave. If you catch my eye, I will stop and do my best to just say hi, and then we can have like a moment, get a picture, we can have hugs and be cool, and if I'm not busy, maybe we can chat for a bit. This doesn't have to be a serious thing. It's just YouTube. I feel like I need to do general sign-offs. What do you think, Phoenix? Agreed. Hope that you have a really awesome day, and I will see you again later. Bye. Take my picture now, shake it till you see it.